and lags. Lags are generally annoying, but with the technique we will use through the paintbrush tool, it will only be more so. Also, applying Gaussian blurs is much faster than creating blends. I select the paintbrush tool and then use the same brush I used for the hair on the character line work. The hairbrush number 3 from the Easy Hairbrushes set by Chewed Candy, which I purchased on Graphic River. I want to focus on the bottom right tree element, and after zooming in on it, I make the weight of the brush thicker. It is set at 2. Now comes the important part. So far, we've applied blending modes on entire layers, but in this case we want to apply a blending mode on the brush directly so that every stroke painted holds its own blending mode. I chose the blending mode Color Burn. I also lower the opacity on the brush itself to 20% so that when I draw a bunch on top of each other, they'll blend into one another, which is effectively what creates the painted look. Now that that is set up, we can start painting away. To make the file less heavy to work on, I hide all other elements for now and create a new layer on top of the line work, base colors and first shading layer. I then draw on top of the areas which will be darkest, allowing it to become entirely black by drawing so many brush strokes on top of one another and drawing less strokes on top of one another in areas that are lighter. If you find that it is tedious and takes too long, you can always heighten the opacity to make the brush strokes less transparent and achieve the dark black overlays faster. I always end up spending more time on the element at the front in a scene illustration, as those carry more detail, even in the shading, whereas I allow the painted shade effect to be a little rougher and less precise in the background elements. Since this will also help create texture in the tree, you can allow the strokes to end roughly and don't need to make the darker areas perfectly black, as that'll add bumps into the tree bark, giving it a very natural look. Once you've painted all the dark areas, we now want to lower the opacity on the layer itself since this is far too dark right now. Select the layer